Welcome back, TTM Trades. Today we're gonna be talking about a couple plays for the week. Honestly, still getting set up. I got my cherry coke here with my Reese's, so figure I just record a couple of tickets I've been looking at and just kind of talk about a couple of the stocks and just what I overall think about the stock market and what's about to happen. Okay. Ooh, that's hidden. All right, so let's talk about ticker SPY, man. I think I did a short video on this last week. I honestly did not mean to post that video. I didn't know if you upload it, to TradingView that it will link to your YouTube, and I think I clicked on it and everything, and it uploaded, So figure I just do one for the tool. But look, man. So with the overall market, right here, we always do multiple time frame analysis. You have to, right? Each smaller time frame builds up into the larger time frame. So right now we got the weekly to the right, daily in the middle, 2-hour chart to the left. All right, now just looking at the weekly, we on a strong uptrend. Above that middle Bollinger Band and above its top one standard deviation Bollinger Band, trending nicely. All right. And on the daily, the same thing, above the middle BB, was holding above that top one standard deviation, trending nicely, showing that the trend was intact and moving on an upward basis. Okay. Now, what happened on the last 3 days, last week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, you started getting this nice little sell-off on the futures market, looking at the daily chart here. And if you notice, we broke through that middle Bollinger Band right here. And then on Friday, we tried to recover that middle Bollinger Band, and then it immediately sold off. Now, I did say 369 or 370 is support and 380 is resistance, okay? Depending on which one of those we break first will kind of give us a clear direction of where we're going in the future, all right? We get back above that 380, then that would put us back in a situation of possibly breaking out into an uptrend, breaking outside the bands, and continuing that upwards momentum, all right? If we break below that 370, which is that current last line of support, based off where the bottom one standard deviation Bollinger Band is at for the daily, and then with the weekly is sitting in the same place. If we break through that, then that can leave us in a free fall down to the 150 SMA, which would be the weekly's middle BB, right? So if I come here, right, if I as I put the cursor right here on the 150, you'll see on the weekly that it's sitting right there, right towards the weekly charts middle Bollinger Band, all right? And that's sitting right at 350. So we're looking at possibly a 20-point drop to the downside, all right? Now, what I do expect moving into the week, all right, I do think we'll have a small short-term rally, right? Because before any sell-off, you always see a small rally to reattempt old resistance. And then I think we may hit those resistance levels, and then you'll just see the market kind of go into a free fall, right? Now, I don't want that to sound too scary, but you will start seeing this sell-off to either correct itself, or whatever the case may be, okay? And where I think that resistance is at, honestly, I thought last week we was going to attempt 380 one more time and then start the sell-off. But I think, the simple fact that we already attempted that 380 once we broke through it here. Wednesday, we broke through the 380. And then Thursday, we tried to attempt that 380 here, failed it, and then sold off here down into the 370 range, all right? Now, moving forward, what do I think we're going to go? All right, I think the 150 SMA is in place, sitting right at 346 to 350. What we're going to do is we're going to shift to a more intraday basis to kind of get an idea for the week where we're going. So we'll go daily, 2-hour, 30-minute. All right. Show the symbol. Reset all the charts. Add no alerts. All right, so looking at the daily, we already talked about that. Now, just looking at some of the indicators, right, as far as the RSI, I'm real big. A lot of people play if the RSI is above 70, it's oversold. You got to get out, whatever the case may be. Sometimes that's true. A lot of the times it's not. RSI that pushes up to 70 or so could have a lot of strength behind it and continue to constantly push above 70. And then some people play it if it's below 30, it's oversold, right? I don't play that either. There's key levels I look for on the RSI. which if a stock is in a strong uptrend, then 40 and 50 area would act as lines of support on the RSI. Hence why I have 40 and 50 marked off here. And what I mean by that, right, if we go out to the weekly chart has been in a very, very strong uptrend, but you'll see each time it pulled back, hit that 40 area, ran up, consolidation period, 40 area ran up, consolidation period, 40 area ran up. And then we had that sell off back during COVID and it ran back up again. All right. So switching back over to the daily, you'll see that we pulled back into that 50 range, rallied back in that 50 range, rallied. So what I'm expecting is the RSI to possibly pull back. And this is just looking strictly from an indicator point of view. I want to see us break down through this 50 area first. Okay. I want to see us break down through the 50 area, a possible day-to-day rally for the RSI to reattempt its averages, which is that white line here, the 10-period moving average, reattempt that average to get above it, and then see it get rejected and fade down to 40, which should correlate with the 150 SMA. So that's what I'm looking for in the RSI. All right. On the PMO, I utilize the PMO to really help me identify when the stock is in a strong uptrend. All right. And it moves just like the MACD, but I've completely smoothed out the averages. So each little bounce you see on a day-to-day basis, it doesn't show up on here. Okay. It just shows the strength of the overall trend, and that's it. And when that trend starts to slow down, then it'll start helping me identify it's slowing down. But you can see here we've been above zero this entire time. Okay. This is an oscillator. So above zero, we're in bull territory. Below zero, we're in bear territory. The last time we was in bear territory was back in that COVID time frame in early 2020. We kind of came out of that bearish time frame, and we've been in a bull market ever since. But if you look at the PMO now, it's been hovering above its short-term and long-term average pretty well, but now you can see it's kind of fading out here on the daily chart to show that upward momentum has subsided. And we're either in one or two spaces, right? When this is when the PMO is trending downward, but it's still above its zero line, the stock is doing one or two things. One, it's in a tight consolidation, hence the momentum has slowed down, and while the PMO has turned down, and/or we're in a correction to where the stock is pulling back to reasonable levels where people would like to buy. As you can see here, it pulled back, had a strong rally, but you'll see that rally didn't really show up on the PMO too much. And then it faded back out again, and then it had another strong rally where it reflected itself on the PMO, and we've been trending upwards ever since. So, but you can see that momentum has subsided, and now it's kind of turning downwards now. And then just from a Bollinger Bandwidth perspective, okay, I do trade options. Volatility, for anyone who trade options, volatility is a big deal, and you must be able to identify moments of consolidation and breakout. I'm gonna hit this cherry coke. Hold on one sec. Oh, I love Reese's, but you got to be able to identify moments of consolidation and then breakout periods, right? The market's either moving up, sideways, or down. It's one of three moves, so when it's moving up, there should be some strong momentum behind it to where the bands are constantly expanding, and you get that Bollinger Bandwidth expanding. So the Bollinger Bandwidth will kind of break out. And then when the bands begin to constrict, showing that upward momentum has slowed down, because if the momentum is still strong, then you'll constantly see the bands stay at a nice level to show the pace of the bands constantly expanding a little bit, trying to keep up with the price action. But as the price action falls back within those bands, you'll see the bands begin to constrict, as you see right here. And then it'll show that the price action has a strong line of support and a strong line of resistance. But as you can see here, this upward momentum over the course of December, January, going into February, you can see that the bands have constricted very tightly to show that the momentum behind the price action is slowed down. All right. So not only do we have the PMO turning downwards, but now we're in a consolidation period. Okay. Price action isn't breaking out as fast, and it's starting to stay within the bands, which means we're now in a consolidation phase. All right. When we're in a consolidation phase, that means the price action is going to do one of two things, right? Right now we're moving sideways. Okay. You can see here we was moving sideways. Slight breakout here, and now the bands, when it pushed out of the bands here, it looked like it was going to start an upward trend, because I thought we was going to push for 100. You get that pullback within the bands, and then you see the Bollinger Band with immediately turn back downwards to show that the bands aren't expanding because the price action isn't moving at a high rate of speed or momentum to make the bands expand. So it immediately pulled back to reflect that the price action is back within the bands and not pushing outward. So now we know we're in a consolidation period. Okay. And it's very important because volatility is cyclical. I've always preached this, right? You're either there's low volatility, breakout high volatility. Low volatility, breakout high volatility. So right now it's low volatility, which means we're going to have a breakout here soon. All right. Now, whether that's to the upside or the downside, no one knows. But I am betting to say we're going to go to the downside just based on how deep the RSI has pulled away from its averages, how that PMO is turning downwards, and now that uptrend that had a prior breakout here to show that the bands were expanding, that upward momentum has begun to subside, and now we're in a consolidation phase from that uptrend that started back in November. All right, this leg right here is starting to subside, and that momentum to the upside is slowing down. So that's what makes me think we're possibly going to break down back down here to this 346 range. All right. And I think this may be a good opportunity to lock in some puts right in this specific price range. Now, what I would wait for is I would wait for a possible rally back up to 375, maybe 380. Once we get that short-term rally, hit one of these resistance areas, I think we'll get rejected wholeheartedly and then come back down. All right. Now, why do I think we're going to have a short-term rally? All right. Looking at just the 2-hour chart alone. All right. The 2-hour chart has pulled right back into that 40 area. And you can see once we hit that 40 area right on the RSI, the price action rallied, and then it immediately sold back off and pulled back down. And now we're still right back in this 40 area again. So I think we may have another attempt again to push up back towards these averages to get that 375, 380 window. And then again, we get that rejection and then the sell-off. So that's ticker SPY. All right. Now, another one I want to look at was American Airlines. Now, American Airlines, looking at this one, we'll go out to the weekly, get big picture, daily, know what we're doing day to day, and then we'll go 2-hour chart to kind of sum up all intraday trading. Now, if you look at the American Airlines on the weekly chart, it's been on a very strong downtrend. And again, what's true for uptrend is true for a downtrend. Okay, so just looking here on the 2-hour chart for this leg right here that started in October 2029, the rally American Airlines from $10 up to $18. You'll see that the RSI, which was pulled back, got above its averages and held pretty well in that upward momentum. The PMO pretty much reflecting that we are in an uptrend. No matter how many times you had these wild swings back to the mean of the middle Bollinger Band, that PMO stays solid. And then each time we went into a consolidation phase here, breakout, you'll see each time consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout, consolidation, breakout. All right. But again, what's true for uptrend is true for a downtrend. Okay. Any stock that is in a strong uptrend, and again, we're looking at the intraday chart, 2-hour chart, it will hold above that middle Bollinger Band and pull back to its mean to consolidate before it starts its next leg for the breakout. All right. Pull back, next leg, breakout. Okay. When we become suspicious of the uptrend is when it breaks below this this lower Bollinger Band and holds below it. Okay. And making it unable to get back above. Then now we know that the trend has changed and we could possibly be going back into a downtrend. So what's true for uptrend is true for a downtrend, as you see here on the weekly chart of American Airlines, as it was in a strong downtrend from March of 2018. You can see each time it rallied to the middle BB, it got rejected each and every time, never getting above that top one standard deviation, constantly getting rejected. And then you finally get this sell-off in early 2020. Now, ever since we've gotten this deep sell-off, you can see this volume spike. There's a lot of interest in American Airlines at these price ranges. Okay, and rightfully so, it should be. If COVID clears up and then the airlines get back to normal, this could be some nice. This could be a nice swing in the short term as far as trading American Airlines. But you could see that when it hit that $9 to $10 range, some buying pressure came into play, and you could see big institutions buying into American Airlines in that price range. All right. And now what you see is each time we got it rejected by this middle Bollinger Band, each and every single time, uh, even here on the rejection, now we finally breaking above it, pull back, and now guess where we're holding? We're holding above that top one standard deviation Bollinger Band on a week-to-week basis, which tells me we may now be swinging into an uptrend on American Airlines, and I don't think anyone is paying attention to this. And again, this is the weekly chart, daily, 2-hour chart. All right. Now, one of the key things that I always look for before, depending on the time frame, but on a day-to-day basis, I always look for the daily chart to be above its 150 SMA, right? Because when the daily chart, this yellow line right here, when the daily chart gets above its 150 SMA, then that means it's above the weekly chart's middle Bollinger Band. And once it gets above the weekly chart middle Bollinger Band, then that tells me that we could possibly be going into a uptrend. So as I mark here, if you follow the 150 SMA here, as the price action is going back and forth with the 150 SMA in this area, you'll see on the right side over here, the price action constantly messing with the weekly's middle BB. So I keep the 150 SMA to give me an idea of where I'm at within the bigger picture, the higher time frame. So now that we've broken out and above the 150 SMA on the daily chart, and the 2-hour chart is holding above its 150 SMA, which would be the daily's chart middle Bollinger Band, then I know we are now in a strong uptrend. Now, what's beautiful about this, if you look, the weekly chart, this breakout it had right here from this strong drop, that downside momentum has now subsided, and you can see that that downward move is consolidating, and there's a lot of buying pressure as the PMO is starting to trend upwards above both its averages. Now, weekly's consolidating, and if you look at the daily had a strong breakout to the upside to break out of this downtrend here, and now we get a slight pullback, and you can see there's a consolidation of this breakout here. All right, but even as you pull back, you can see buyers coming in and buying right in this price range of $15 up to $16.50. And yet you get this random surge in buying. I'm not sure what happened here. There may have been some news or something, but now you're beginning to pull back. So I think American Airlines is the one that not too many people is watching, but I would try to lock in American Airlines. I would go long on American Airlines. We'll mark it here on the weekly chart. I would take American Airlines up to its 150 SMA on the weekly chart, which, remember, this may take a couple weeks to get there, but from the weekly chart, let me get a better marking on here. Hold on one sec. I just started using TradingView. I was always a StockCharts.com fan, but I finally switched over. Stop being stubborn. All right, so just to play along to the upside, there's a 71% return, 71% reward from current price levels up to the target for about $11.47 spread, with a risk of 15% to the downside of losing $2.56. Because again, you can always pull back to the middle BB just for a retest. Now, if you want to try to wait patiently to see if you pull back to the daily's 150 SMA, which would be the weekly chart middle BB, again, I'll mark it so you can visually see. If I mark that 150 SMA, that green line right here, if you look over to the right, it's sitting right there where the weekly charts middle BB is sitting at. So if you want to try to wait to see if you can get a pullback back down to that 150 SMA and buy right in that general range where the weekly chart middle Bollinger Band is at, that may be a possibility. But again, just looking intraday at the 2-hour chart, here's the breakout on the 2-hour chart that we're looking at. Here, I do the cross so everybody can see it on all the time frames. 2 hour, daily, weekly. Here's that breakout on the daily chart. If you look at the daily, you'll see on the 2 hour chart how it's bleeding over into the daily, and you get that nice breakout here. Bam. Now you'll see on the 2 hour chart it started consolidating from December 9th. As you see the PMO turn downwards. Now again, it's still above that zero line. It did dip below it, but not at a fast rate, because you'll see that the PMO and the signal line is still tightly together. But again, in the consolidation, all of a sudden some buying come in and break it back above its averages. It bounce off its averages and head back up to the upside. So I say that to say I highly doubt it may pull back down here to that 150 SMA. At most, you may possibly get a $16 even pullback if you're lucky. And once you get that $16 even pullback, I'll probably go along with some calls and try to take this to the upside. Back to the weekly's chart, 150 SMA, which is currently sitting at 27.42, but a nice $11 spread if you time American Airlines just right. All right, and one more, I'm going to talk about Tesla. I know Tesla's been hot. I don't really want to get into GME, GameStop, and AMC, and all of those. That's been all over YouTube. Everybody's talking about that. So I don't want to beat that dead horse. So we'll talk about Tesla and what I foresee going on with Tesla. So again, looking at Tesla, we're looking at the weekly, daily, 2 hour chart. Tesla's been on a crazy rally. All right, on the weekly chart. We first got the signal here back in November, December 2019. That was when it first got above that 150 SMA. It closed above it. You can see the PMO. Price action was in a consolidation cycle here. PMO started to build momentum to the upside. Price action breaking out of the bands, hence why we're getting above the average on the Bollinger Band width. And again, we started trending upwards. RSI holding above its averages nicely. RSI pulled back on the weekly, hit that 50 area. Perfect, spot on. You can see as it hit the 50 area, the price action hit that middle Bollinger Band. Buying came back into play. And then Tesla has been on a run ever since. So the signal first came in, as you can see here, back in December 2019, and has been running non-stop. So now what do we see going on with Tesla? All right, I do think Tesla needs to cool up. I think the overall market, period, is just about to correct itself. Because when I go to a lot of different stocks, we'll go back to Tesla. A lot of them are overextended. And they're all in this consolidation phase. Apple's in a consolidation phase, weekly consolidating at the top. Amazon consolidation phase, just moving sideways. I mean, look how tight the bands are on this. All right, we don't know if this is going to break out to the upside or downside. Now, one of the beautiful things about Amazon is it hasn't lost that middle Bollinger Band. All right, every time it pulls back, it holds it. It lost it right here for a week and then immediately rallied back to get back above it. So, Amazon doesn't look like it's going to go into a downtrend, but it's still at a critical point of where it can go either direction. Facebook, same thing going on with Facebook. Rallied to 300, and it's been in this sideways consolidation. So the entire market is in this consolidation cycle. So just looking at Tesla, strong rally to the upside, got up to 900, where the resistance and or the ceiling was created. And now you can see on a day-to-day basis, the price action is kind of pulled back to that middle Bollinger Band. Now, again, that middle Bollinger Band is very crucial as far as holding the uptrend. And we need to, one, see if we're going to get a bounce off this middle BB that's currently sitting right at 768. All right. So we'll see if we get a dip down here to 768 with a possible bounce. But again, the RSI, just looking at it, it broke out and it was holding above its averages perfectly fine. And now you get this strong sell-off right here. Just same thing we see on the on ticker SPY. Okay. Now, again, I do think we'll get a nice short-term rally here on Tesla to reattempt this 856 or 859, right where the top one standard deviation Bollinger Band is at. And that's key. If Tesla rallies back to this 856 area and we get back above it, then that's a strong sign that we may break back out to the upside and start another uptrend back to that 900 or even try to get Tesla over to $1,000 even. But if we rally back up to this 856 level and then you see Tesla get rejected, then you know that Tesla is going to have a much deeper pullback down to these levels of right here, right around 680 to 675, right where that top one standard deviation Bollinger Band is at on the weekly. And if it's fine if it pulls back to that 670 level, because again, on a week to week basis, that would still maintain Tesla's longer term uptrend. Okay, so a 667, 670 pullback is not bad at all. You can see here when Tesla rallied and kind of got far from its mean of the middle Bollinger Band and that top one standard deviation, it did pull back and it held that top one standard before it started its next leg. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Tesla do the same thing again, pull back to that 670 to 675 area, get some consolidation as far as between sellers and buyers, profit takers, and then try to rally back to the upside. Now, that's only if the daily chart stays set up and stays above its zero line. All right. But I will look for a pullback on Tesla. First, I look for a rally to 857, rejection, and then a sell-off back down here to that 670 to 675 level, which will correlate with this nice area of consolidation before it broke out and started this leg here. So we'll look for a pullback to that 670, 675 area, see if some buying pressure comes back into play, and then from there kind of decide where we're going to go from there with Tesla. But overall, the market is overextended, and it is set up for an overall 10% correction. So I wouldn't be going long in the market as of right now. But TTM trades, man, I just wanted to kind of go over a couple stocks. I might touch bases on this midweek at the end of the week just to kind of see where we're set up. But if you do want to keep up with the majority of my posts, I've been posting a lot of them here on TradingView on the platform. I really love it as far as my calls and what I think is going to happen. So find me on TradingView, TTM Trades, if you want to keep up with my posts. And I will try to get back on YouTube a lot more. But till next time, leave me a message, shoot me a message. And till next time, man, y'all trade safe.